This man was rejected by Twitter and Facebook. They said, "Thanks for your interest, but we don't think you're a good fit." 4 years later, Facebook bought his app for $19 billion. Here's the story of the most expensive recruitment mistake in history. Brian Acton had worked at Yahoo for 11 years. When Yahoo started declining, he knew it was time to leave. At 37, he wanted to join a new tech company. First stop, Twitter.
For us, it's always been about building a company that is here to stay, that is here for the next 10, 20, 50 years.
This was Jan Koum, the co-founder of WhatsApp, at a tech conference on January 20th. Though Koum never intended to sell his company, a month later, Facebook bought it for at least $16 billion. Jan Koum and Brian Acton created WhatsApp in 2009. Today, it has 450 million users around the world. Koum grew up in Kiev, Ukraine until he was 16 when he moved to Mountain View, California. He dropped out of San Jose State University to devote his time to his job at Yahoo, where his WhatsApp co-founder Brian Acton was already a software engineer. In 2007, both Koum and Acton quit their jobs at Yahoo. Later, they both applied to work at Facebook, and both were rejected. Koum came up with the idea for WhatsApp, which has a business strategy that's very different from Facebook's. You can see it here on this sign written by Brian Acton that's posted on Koum's desk. WhatsApp is free for users for the first year, and then it's $1 a year after that. It has no advertising, and it doesn't collect users' personal data. Koum's childhood in Kiev explains why he believes in privacy for WhatsApp users.
I grew up in a country where I remember my parents not being able to have a conversation on the phone. My mom would often say, "This is not a phone conversation, I'll tell you in person." The walls had ears and you couldn't speak freely.
On February 9th, Mark Zuckerberg asked Jan Koum to dinner at his home to propose the deal. Soon after, Koum caved to Facebook's offer, and also to its social network. A few hours after the acquisition was announced, he created a personal Facebook page.
He walked into Twitter's office in 2009, confident and experienced. 11 years at Yahoo, solid engineering background. The interview went well, he thought. Then came the email, "We've decided to move forward with other candidates."
In the middle of 2009, he was the software engineer that no one wanted to hire. He had 12 years of experience at Yahoo, but he was rejected by Facebook and then rejected by Twitter. He'd been to a great university, he had a great CV, but he decided to team up with one of his alumni members at Yahoo and started to create an app and focus on the startup space. In 5 years' time, he sold that app for $19 billion to Facebook. Believe it or not, that was Brian Acton, the co-founder of WhatsApp. When he was rejected from Facebook, he said, "It was a great opportunity to connect with some fantastic people. I look forward to life's next adventure." When he was rejected by Twitter, he responded by saying, "Worked out, it was quite a long commute." It's so interesting to see that someone rejected from two of the top internet companies actually responded with humor and actually responded with positivity.
1 month later, he tried Facebook. Same result, not a good cultural fit, they said. Brian was crushed. 2 rejections from the companies he most wanted to join. He posted on Twitter, "Facebook turned me down. It was a great opportunity to connect with some fantastic people. Looking forward to life's next adventure." Little did he know, that adventure would make him a billionaire. But first, he took a year off. He traveled the world, played ultimate frisbee and thought about his next move. During this time, his old Yahoo colleague Jan Koum was struggling with his own startup idea. Jan wanted to build an app where people could update their status. But something was missing.
In 2007, both Koum and Acton quit their jobs at Yahoo. Later, they both applied to work at Facebook, and both were rejected. Koum came up with the idea for WhatsApp, which has a business strategy that's very different from Facebook's. You can see it here on this sign written by Brian Acton that's posted on Koum's desk. WhatsApp is free for users for the first year, and then it's $1 a year after that. It has no advertising, and it doesn't collect users' personal data.
In 2009, Apple launched push notifications. Jan realized he could build a messaging app that worked across all phones. He called Brian. "Want to build something together?" Brian said yes. He was ready for that next adventure. The result? They launched WhatsApp in 2009 with a simple mission. No ads, no gimmicks, just messaging that worked. While Facebook and Twitter fought for attention, WhatsApp focused on privacy and simplicity. But the early days were brutal. 1. The app crashed constantly. 2. Servers went down daily. 3. Jan was so broke that he applied for food stamps. 4. Brian had to pump $250,000 of his own savings just to keep the lights on. Most startups would have died here. They were bleeding money with no revenue model. Every major investor passed on them. A messaging app? That's not a business, VCs said. Jan almost gave up and went back to get a regular job. Then Brian had a crazy idea.
We're at 1 billion users, and of course we continue to track that, and of course we continue to grow at quite a healthy pace. What we're working toward is the next big milestone. Announcing intermediate numbers along the way is not really that important to us. We want to get to 2 billion users. That's going to take some time, and we're actively working towards that.
So you have more than 1 billion users, but still no revenue to speak of. You actually stopped the main revenue source at the beginning of the year. You're working towards commercial messaging. What exactly is that? What's it going to mean for me as a user, and when am I going to start seeing it?
Well, so I think if you look at what we've done in the last 7 years, we've really tackled the problem of consumer messaging. Two people wanting to communicate with each other, husband and wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, two coworkers, friends, whatever it might be. And when you think back to like 2009 and 2008, the messaging systems that were around, they were kind of clunky. You either had to use SMS, and it was limited in many ways. It was expensive. You only had 160 characters. You had systems like ICQ or Skype where you had to exchange usernames or pins to connect with somebody. And what we've done is we built a system on top of your address book where you don't have to jump through these hoops to communicate with people who already are in your address book. And we built it in such a way that it gives you more functionality. If your message has been delivered, if it's been read, you can have group chats, you can send media, you can share video. And we think that we did a fairly good job solving the consumer aspect of the way people communicate, but there's also, as you go around about your daily lives, there's business communication that happens. You're late for your flight, you have to call and reschedule. Your internet went down, you need to call and find out why your internet doesn't work. You're trying to make a reservation at a restaurant. And I haven't really met anybody ever who is on hold and gets excited about it. I don't know, does anybody here like to be on hold with a business, like when they put you on hold and then the call gets dropped and you have to call back and now you're talking to a different representative? And so we think if we take the asynchronicity that we have in our product today when it comes to consumer messages and apply it to communication with businesses, I think people's lives are going to be just a lot easier from that.
Instead of ads, they'd charge $1 per year. Everyone told him it was stupid. Nobody pays for apps, they said. But users gladly paid $1 to avoid ads and spam. This tiny fee funded their entire operation. But there was more.
Charging for a consumer product. I remember in 2011 or whatever, people would still say, well, WhatsApp is never going to work because they charge $1 and it's a viral app and that's just going to kill it right there.
The thing about charging is actually very interesting. We used this lever to charge to actually slow our growth. And I know it sounds very counterintuitive because why would you want to slow your growth? We wanted to slow our growth so we could better support our existing users, so we could build servers that don't crash, so that we could build product that doesn't drop messages, so that we could answer their customer support emails. A lot of people were telling us what you're doing is wrong. You should really be growing as fast as you can. And we're like, no. We want to build the infrastructure first. And it's very similar a little bit to Facebook in early days. They were doing colleges only, and they weren't open to the entire world. And we wanted to make sure that we have our existing users happy and that when people sign up, they have a great experience and that the app works and it's fast and the servers are up and running all the time. And I think that worked for us because we really were able to focus on the product.
Their secret weapon? International growth. While competitors focused on the US, WhatsApp went global. They supported 12 languages from day one. Countries with expensive SMS plans loved free WhatsApp messages. India, Brazil, and Europe exploded with users.
Herein lies the revenue strategy WhatsApp used for a while. Get investments. Essentially, they said rather than trying to get more money out of our users, let's just invest in making our app the best it can be, which will bring in more users, which will then bring in more investors, and the cycle repeated. Seriously, that was their plan, and it worked out great for everyone. You see, WhatsApp is an app that benefits from the network effect, meaning the more people who have the app, the better it is for all of the users, as it means they can message more people. So by not cashing in and plastering it with ads or lots of paid features, WhatsApp could grow much quicker because people would tell all their friends and family about the app, and so the user count would keep rising. And thus, they kept attracting more investors, giving WhatsApp even more money to improve the user experience further.
By 2010 to 1 million users, 2011 to 10 million users, 2012 to 100 million users, 2013 to 300 million users, all without spending a dollar on marketing. But that's not the crazy part. In early 2014, Facebook's growth was slowing. They needed WhatsApp's 450 million users. Mark Zuckerberg flew to Brian's house for a secret meeting. The offer? $19 billion. Brian couldn't believe it. The same company that rejected him 5 years earlier was now offering $19 billion for his creation. He would personally make $3 billion from the deal. The rejection that felt like failure became the setup for the biggest win. The lesson? Rejection doesn't equal failure. It can be the beginning of something even better.